Hello, 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 and welcome to Module 3. We are going to be doing some exciting things in this module. Let's get into it. You ready? Okay, so for Module 3, of course, this video is going to land right here. So as we get started, there are really 3 assignments for this week. So let's jump in. So I'm going to first talk about the assignments, and then I'm going to go into the overview and the objectives, and then I'm going to walk you through some of the internship pieces. Then I'll go into each piece of the assignments or each assignment itself. So first off, you have an internship assignment. You're going to begin working on part 5, which is interviewing and selecting your internship. It is due in module 4. You're going to start it this week, but it's due next week. So keep that in mind. You also are going to be working on another HCD activity. So this one, you're going to start learning about inspiration and what is inspiration. There are 2 parts to this one. So you're going to start with part 1. You also have a yellow dig assignment. So to continue what we're doing in the internship track, you are really going to be looking at, how do we find that internship site? How do you communicate? How do you interview? How do you select? But as we're getting into that, let's talk about a couple of things on your internship. So in this presentation, there's actually another page. So click into it. We're going to talk about school-based internships first. I've gotten several questions about this, and I want to make sure that we're on the same page. So when you get into this, click on this one. When you click on it, it's going to open this presentation. But let's talk about this for a minute. So quite a few have asked, can I intern at a school? The answer is yes. And there's a couple things that have to be kind of at play. A couple things that you cannot do. You cannot be a classroom teacher or a teacher's assistant for this to work. So you cannot intern in this capacity. So some of you I know are currently either, paraprofessionals, your teaching assistants. That cannot be a part of your internship. But there are many ways that you could work with a school outside of those roles. So let's dive into this a little bit more. So as we click to the next slide, what's allowed? You can create, an improvement program. You can work with multiple schools or multiple classrooms and do something like that. You can intern in a before or after school program. You can work in the library. You can work with a club or some sort of alliance. You can also work with the counseling or the ESL folks. So let's talk about what's not allowed. You cannot be a classroom teacher or a teacher's assistant. Okay. You cannot work one-to-one with one student for the entirety of your internship. Okay. You cannot create a program for a single classroom for a single teacher. You cannot be a substitute teacher, for a classroom that is a part of your internship. And you cannot work at the front desk. Okay. So now that we've said that, these are 3 examples of things that have happened within internships at schools that were successful. So this one they created and they worked alongside of teachers that were working with juniors and seniors. They helped them develop skills such as time management, communication, part of working on a team, and then securing employment, like interviewing resumes, kind of the thing that you're doing right now to secure your internship. So working with a group of teachers, so let's say like this is for high school, working with juniors and seniors. Now, you could work with the entire 4th grade on a reading program. You could work with the 7th and 8th grade teachers with PTA or working with student government. You just cannot be in one class working with one teacher with one group of students. So you could do something with math. You could do something with reading, but you have to work with multiple teachers to accomplish this. So let's look at the second part. So this is another one. This one is at a middle school. They worked with the paraeducators to develop, a principal, a lunchtime program and a workshop. So another one where you're developing and designing something, but you're not working with one teacher or one classroom. So doing something greater that gives you more flexibility across the whole entire school. Third one, interning with the literacy coach to create a school-wide program to incentivize students to read more. So hopefully you're seeing the scope of this. Again, can't be a paraprofessional, can't be a classroom teacher, but you could work at a school, but you have to work with something other than one particular teacher and one set of schools, like one student. Hope that makes sense. Let's jump back because I want to jump back into module 3 activities. So as we go back into this, for module 3, the first part of this, so the second part is, the internship piece and working on your internship. And that's going to be part 5. We'll jump into that in a second. For part 1, HCD. So let's go ahead and hit the next button so we can see what else we're working on this week. So as I click next, we're going to go into inspiration. What is inspiration? There is a template again. So kind of walk through this template with you. So you'll be reading, working with the template. As you go into this, it looks similar to the one that we had before. Same type of thing. So I'm going to go back because I want to open that template to walk you through some of these pieces. So when I click on the template, it opens. I love the magic. So inspiration. So as I kind of walk through this, again, your reading is right here. You'll click here for your reading. And then as you keep working through this, how to submit your work, kind of like you submitted it last week. Again, modules 4, module 7, we're going to be taking a look at your portfolio to make sure everything is there. So let's jump into this. So again, as you go to the IDEO's website, here's the reading, HCD website. We're going to keep moving. You guys can listen to me talk in a second. Case selection, click here. We had a couple questions about when it says, who was the design team? The design team are the people that participated in making that HCD project real. So it's those folks that were involved. It could be people, it could be organizations, whoever it was that helped make that particular HCD project come to life and make it a reality. So those are the people that you're going to work with. So again, you're going to walk through the case study. Click here. It's going to take you to the Google Doc. So you can pick one. Again, you're picking a new case study. It is not the one that you did last week. You're collecting a new one. So that design team are the people that worked on this. The timeline, some of them don't share all the information. This is where you have to be creative and maybe think about the timeline. If they say it took a year, then you put that in there. So again, this is kind of an overview. You add that in. And you dive a little deeper and think about how does it exemplify the values that were a part of this particular case study and why is it important? These are great examples of what you're going to be doing within your internship. But the one thing that I want to keep you thinking about and, kind of pondering, at this point, you're just selecting an internship. You're not worrying about what a project looks like. You're not even really thinking about, everything that goes into the internship. You're finding something that you'd be interested in, a place that you'd be interested in. So these are good ideas of, kind of where you could do things or what can happen, but think about that for the future. All right, so as we keep kind of clicking through, this should look familiar. So we're going to talk about the design challenge. You're going to click on the links and follow and go from there. All right, so let's jump out of this one. Looks like there's enough information on kind of the HCD piece. So you submit it the same way you submitted the last one. Please make sure you take a moment to look at the rubric. I'm going to go ahead and click next. And then we're going to dive back into, so here's Yellow Dig. Again, this week we're talking about inspiration. Make sure you go in there, work with this, communicate with your peers. It's always nice to get to know some people in the class. And then last but not least, interviewing part 5. So in this one, you are looking at, interviewing and selecting your internship. So in part 5, you really want to think about what is, who are you going to be talking to? Last week we talked about, finding someone, brainstorming and seeing what you were interested in and then that communication document. This week we're taking it the next step forward and looking at interview and selecting your internship. So as you look through this, the goal is to really find something you're interested in, but you're only interviewing, selecting at this point. So I want to jump back to this one so we can talk about this a little bit more. I might have closed it. Oh, I did. Hang on one second. Let me jump back to where I was because I want you to see this because I think a lot of you might be just putting a little bit too much stress on yourself and thinking about how does all of this work. So let's talk about the flow of your internships for a minute and how that kind of works. I'm going to jump back to module 3 in the overview because that little slide deck has some other information in it that I want to go over with you. So I'm going to click here so you guys can see there's a school-based one we just talked about. Now for this one, you're in 394, which is 394, 396. So in this one, you're just securing your internship. You're not really worried about the project. You're not really worried about everything that comes next. In this one, you're going to secure your internship and learn about human-centered design. So at this point, it's not thinking about what that project is or even really, formulating some ideas because the human-centered design process, the way it works is you go through a full inspiration phase with your site. So you work with them to talk about what are some of the things that are happening? What are some of the things that are going on? You interview, you do some surveys, you really spend some time thinking and talking to the people that are there to design something that, or think about a problem that you need to solve, but it's done with the organization. So don't get the cart before the horse and say, I'm going to go do a reading program. I'm going to go, to Boys and Girls Club and we're going to do a basketball program. Stop the madness right now. Wait till you get there and you walk through the process, because the full inspiration is really looking at what's out there. And then you go into ideation. Ideation, we start looking at what is the problem, and then how can that problem possibly be solved? And it's a full piece where we go through all these ideation examples. We look at, how this could possibly work. Again, you're spending time with your team. You're working with other people to find that right idea. And then so now we're in spring. You would do the internship, the first part in the fall, and then the spring of next year, so spring 2024, is when you start implementing your project, which is 6 to 8 weeks long. So again, you have time to do this. We are right here in this first phase where you're selecting your internship. So this week, again, you're going in and you're going to spend some time really thinking about those first pieces of, what is, how do I design this? What does it look like? How do I move forward? So as I would jump back to this one, really thinking about, for this one, interviewing, listening, making sure what they're saying within the internship or interview makes sense for what you want to do in your internship. So take a moment to walk through this slide deck. We put in a lot of videos. We put in some section on interviewing, interview process, selecting your internship, and then filling out the template. So give it a try. Let us know if you have questions. We're here to support you. Also, if you have questions about the school piece, let us know that as well. So I look forward to seeing your work. We're grading Module 2 right now. So please reach out. Let us know you have questions. Have a great week. Bye-bye.